What it do, baby?
Yeah, yo, what do you?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Be Heard. It's my YouTube channel. My name's Ariel Ramnia.
I'm Nathan Newman.
Basically, I'll be interviewing people who have, like him, have overcome cancer, school shootings, paralysis, just the craziest things. They could give you advice, insight on what it's like to go through. So, if you're someone battling cancer, you could look at Nathan, look at living proof. Like, he was bald for 6 years now. Look at that hair. Look at that.
Look
hair,
at this
right?
hair, bro.
Yeah,
It's all back now.
Look at all that hair, even nicer than mine. And he can give you advice. He can tell you that
I'm always here, guys. If
he's
you
someone
want
to
to talk
talk
about
to.
anything,
You follow him on Instagram at Nathan Newman.
Nathan Newman 7.
Yeah, Nathan Newman 7. Yeah, he has advice. He can tell you, what he went through, so you don't feel as different and as alone. And you guys are going probably through similar things. He's been battling brain cancer, but he's feeling a lot better and doing great.
Going only up from here.
So my first question is, how did you figure out that you had cancer, and what did you do once you found out?
Well, at first when I started getting headaches, no doctor assumed that I had brain cancer, and so me getting diagnosed was kind of a long process. At first, my pediatrician recommended I go see a neurologist, a pediatric neurologist, and after giving me a thorough exam, the neurologist ended up diagnosing me with ADHD.
Okay.
And so I was on medication for ADHD for over a month, and that wasn't doing shit. I was getting worse and worse by the day.
So you still had symptoms?
I still had symptoms were getting worse.
So what were your symptoms?
Throwing up, being really
Okay.
lethargic, where like I felt lost if I wasn't sleeping or in bed with my face in my pillow, and I just didn't know what was wrong with me. And my parents, they had to demand my neurologist to give me an MRI.
So she didn't want to give you an
She didn't want to
MRI.
give me an MRI. She said to my parents, giving a 12-year-old an MRI is a traumatizing experience.
Okay.
And she said, I would prefer you guys didn't make him go through that.
Okay.
And so my parents followed through, and they made me go through that, and they may have saved my life, because straight from there, I was sent directly to Children's Hospital.
Wow. Okay. So my second question is, what was your reaction when you found out, and what was going through your mind?
It took me a little bit to finally realize what had happened, because I was brought into the hospital on July 3rd, and the night of July 3rd, and the next day was July 4th, and no doctors were in the hospital. They were all had the day off, and so I just had MRIs all through the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking to myself, what is this shit? I just want to go home.
Yeah.
And Mom, when do I get to go home? Dad, when do I get to go home?
You just thought it was like super
I thought it was like a flu or something. Like,
Yeah.
I'd get over it eventually, but I learned quickly that that wasn't the case.
All right, so another question is, what was it like at such a young age to fight cancer?
It was very weird. I was really hard on myself. Instead of doing normal teenage things like play sports on your school team or go to parties every Friday night, I was getting treatment. I was in the hospital, just looking at my phone on Twitter and Instagram and just seeing what everyone was doing. It's kind of like I was living my life vicariously through my phone. It was such a hard time in my life, and
That's like all you wanted, just to just be a normal
all
kid.
I wanted that whole time, years spent in the hospital, all I wanted was to look normal and to be normal, like all my other friends and everyone else I saw on social media.
But you're really young, so it forces you to look at life different,
And it really changes your perspective.
it changes your perspective, changes everything, because you're living a whole different lifestyle. So
Right.
what was that like? Seeing everyone live a different life than you were.
It wasn't easy, I'll tell you that. It took me a while, a very long time to cope with that, I really had to look at life and just take it day by day and just say, it'll be my time soon,
Right.
This is temporary, Nothing in life is permanent.
Yeah, and so you were how old when it was like when it first started?
I was 12. I was 12, about to turn 13.
Right now you're
Now I'm
19.
9. I'm 20. I just turned
20.
20 May
No
9th.
way.
May
No way.
9th. I
All
hit
right.
20, boys.
20. Look at that. 8 years.
8 years.
8 years going strong. And
Crazy.
how you went through like, loss of hair and stuff like that. You were bald, right?
I was bald for the majority of the last 8 years.
So 8 years you had no hair.
No. Yep.
Now, so how'd you get your hair back? Like, what was that like?
It was freaking awesome. Like, I've gotten my hair back a
Uh-huh.
couple times, but it never came in fully, and it always would fall out again after because of treatment,
Right.
the lingering effects of treatment.
Right.
But this time it's been in for a couple months now, and I actually just got a haircut.
Nice.
My first haircut. Yeah, yeah, boy.
That must have been nice.
No,
Huh?
it was just weird. Like, I get so happy at getting a haircut. Like,
Yeah.
everyone does that. Everyone thinks that's normal. Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
go get a haircut.
I've
But to
never.
me, it was just so overwhelming.
That makes me feel appreciative just getting a
Right?
haircut.
The
Like,
small things in life.
I
man.
never thought like, I would lose my hair.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
Cancer has really helped me value the small things in life and just taking life day by day and
Those
really
of you
cherishing
complaining about
small moments.
Starbucks, go get a haircut.
Go get a haircut.
Go get a haircut. You'll feel better about yourself. All right. So I was wondering, like while you were going through this, like, did you go on YouTube and look at other people who had cancer and survived, or like who were the people that you looked for, motivation or inspiration to get better?
Well, the community really motivated me, and it was such an honor to see everyone rally in my for Team Nate Dog at
Yeah,
my walk. That was
I remember seeing
it
that
made me
on
cry. I was
Instagram.
crying in the hospital that whole day, just overwhelmed with joy. The fact that that many people were wearing my shirt and walking for me, that was something else, bro. And I'll always remember that day for the rest. I was in the hospital connected to a drain when they were trying to figure out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I was connected to a drain. I actually got up and walked the unit,
nice.
and I filmed it and everything. And I said, "That's my walk. I was with you guys."
Yeah.
Another big factor in my fight was Jessica Blair Silver.
She was like your
She,
best friend, right?
she was one of my closest friends, and she was diagnosed, I'd say, a year before I was diagnosed, and she passed away. And I remember I got my first treatment.
So did you guys have cancer at the same time, or was
Yeah, we had it for a little. We had towards the end of her fight, I was diagnosed.
right? Okay.
So I remember my first treatment. It was outpatient, and I came home, and I got on my iPhone, and there's all these Instagram posts, Twitter posts. Rest in peace, Jessica Blair Silver.
That's how you found out.
Yep. That's how I found out.
No one like you just saw it on Instagram like without knowing or.
Yep. And my heart just sunk. My stomach sunk. And I remember that day so vividly. I just took a shower for an hour, and I was just letting the water hit me and just thinking about everything and her and how I would beat this cancer just because of her. And she was my motivation, and she really got me through some of the toughest times.
And she's like big inspiration because she fought like as hard as she could,
Yeah.
but
No,
you're
she
doing
gave
it for
she
her.
fought with everything she had, and just the fact that I'm still here, I need to share her legacy.
Yeah, that's
You know
important.
you know what I mean? Like, she's still here.
Yeah. I do. So going through something like really aggressive and intense as cancer, being diagnosed when you're 12 years old, going into eighth grade, I can only imagine, what was going through your head mentally and what were you thinking?
I was really down on myself at some points, which is usual for someone in my circumstance.
It'd be weird if you were
Yeah.
like happy.
It's not like I was going to say 8 years. It flew by. I was so excited.
Yeah.
There were times where it got really rough, and I found myself at points where I didn't want to go on anymore. I didn't want
Right.
to fight anymore.
You're
And
just tired of
those
it.
were frequently. Most of my days were just me laying in bed, depressed.
What was the thing where you're like, you know what, like I can't do this? Like, what was like the one thing?
The one thing that really made me depressed and I can't do this was when, after my initial 6 rounds of chemotherapy, My parents, my whole family was expecting to hear good news, and we were expecting for this whole roller coaster to come to an end.
Hmm.
But we had the doctor visit with my doctor, and we walked in the room. We were all excited, and he walks in and says, "Guys, I'm sorry." And we all knew at that time that it wasn't gonna be a happy day. After
It
that,
hadn't gone away.
yeah, it didn't go. The MRI showed that it was still there, and I
Right.
went on to intensive chemotherapy. And then after my intensive chemotherapy, I had my stem cell transplant.
Right. So that only made it worse for you, and you only were like, damn, like I
Yep.
did all this
I did all
almost
this.
for
I thought I
nothing.
did good. Like,
So after that, like that only makes you become more sad and more depressed. And
exactly. Like, just put that on top of everything.
right. But was there like one specific thing, or just was there one person, or like what was like your like I can't give up because of this, like like I don't want to give up because
Jessica,
Jessica. Okay.
I swear, she got me through the hardest of times during my treatment, and
So every time you were like like screw this, like
I was like, Jessica wouldn't say this. Jessica would
right,
fight, you know,
and she did,
and she did. She gave it her all, and I'm gonna give it my all. That was my mentality.
So you can, even if you want to.
Yep.
Just know, like even if you want to give up, there's
You
other
got to push
people out
yourself because
there.
you will get through it. You will get through it. Trust me.
I mean, yeah, look at him. He was
Yep.
going through 6 rounds, and it only got worse.
Yep.
Nothing good happened. But look at him now. He's doing
Yeah. Look at me now.
amazing.
What if I gave up? I
He's
wouldn't be here. Right
walking, driving, going to school, full head of
now.
hair.
Full head of hair.
Full
New
head
new
of hair.
kid. New. I'm a new man.
Living a
Nathan Newman. New man.
that makes
Spitting
sense.
bars.
That makes sense.
Spitting bars.
That makes sense. It's been good doing this. I
Yeah, man.
had no
I appreciate
idea.
you. I appreciate you and
All of
everything.
this about cancer. I had no idea like what they go through. I thought like you probably just throw up sometimes, or like I had no idea you have
It's
to
a
get
lifestyle cancer.
you have to get
I
like a
swear.
drain in your head like you
I
had.
have a drain. I'm 50% bionic, bro.
50% bionic.
Yeah, I'm
That's
half human, half
metal.
robot.
Yeah, I mean I thought like you know one of the reasons I wanted to do this channel was for people who, like, even if you don't have cancer, even if you don't have something as intense, you know nothing's like, I don't want to say nothing's stopping you from getting cancer, but there's no difference between someone like Nathan,
Yeah.
who has cancer or
And
had
someone
gone
like-
through
yeah.
cancer, versus you at home. So it can happen to anybody. Just be grateful for what you have, and you know don't think like you're like invincible, because I'm sure you
It
thought that
happens to everyone.
happens
Trust
to
me.
everybody, and
When you least
just
expect it.
yeah, there's nothing separating you from anybody, and just be grateful for what you have. A million people have more than what you have, but a million people have less than what you
yep.
have. So
Couldn't have said it better.
you're gonna drive yourself crazy just thinking that person has more money than me, more cars, more girls, more hair, more whatever. Doesn't matter, as long as you realize a lot of people have less than you, and you should
Just
be
be
grateful.
you.
For,
It's your life, and only you decide how you live your life.
That's true. That is very true. All right, thank you, man.
Thanks, man.
See you guys.